and we'll see if it'll work.
Is Brooke just not here today?
Yeah, she had a previous engagement, so I told her I'd cover for her.
Oh, that's...
We're good.
We're on?
We're on.
Okay, welcome everybody to our meeting, and we'll go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Joe Delwo, Commissioner.
I'm Sam Carlson, Commissioner.
Lisa Sidman, Clerk of Court. Melody Martinson, Choteau, Kansas.
Paula Giaconetti, Clerk and Recorder.
Brian Kozelvik, County Planner.
Okay, we have minutes from June 5th.
I would move that we approve those minutes.
I will second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, and I should note that Brian Bedord had a previous engagement. He's in Nebraska at a shooting event that he had, so he's not here today. Okay, we have a road encroachment. I thought there was two, but there was only one. It was the same, two copies of the same one. So it is Three Rivers Telephone Cooperative, and it's on 13th Road Northeast and First Road Northeast, and they're burying a fiber optic in the ditch.
13th Road Northeast and First.
13th Road Northeast and First Road Northeast.
Okay.
And Steve has signed the permit.
I would move to approve those.
I will second it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Brings us to a FEP grant mail. I had another DocuSign from the state, and it was a FEP grant, and it was for the amount of $30,289.
And this is for the health department, right?
Yep. And it's effective July 1, 2019 to 2026. So it's just a continuation of the one that they have.
So I move that we approve that.
I will second it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, that brings us to surplus generator bids. We only received one bid. And the engine on the generator was from the West Repeater mill, and the engine blew out of it, so we didn't expect much. You never know. So the one bid we got is from Brian Bedord, and it was for $250 for a surplus generator for Teton County.
Yeah.
I kind of thought he might be going to bid because he asked me, and I told him as long as he recused himself from the decision, it would be okay.
He really recused himself.
Yeah, he's in Nebraska today, so.
$250. Okay. I would move that we accept that bid.
I would second it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Which brings us to the salary board resolution. And the salary board met last week. Was it last week?
2 weeks ago.
Last.
Yeah, the 18th.
And their recommendation for the elected officials was $1 an hour increase. So we either have to go with our recommendation or reconvene the salary board.
I would move that we go with their recommendation and approve the dollar.
I would second that. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. That brings us to Lisa, the airport Bell Master Task Order Agreement. So if you want to explain that a little, that would be fantastic.
The board met, and we received 3 bids. They approved the Dow bid, and we're requesting approval from the county commissioners. A side note that we did not send this to the county attorney to be reviewed, so if you would approve it contingent upon his approval.
Okay. And it's for a 5-year contract, and they've
Yes.
been with Dow for quite a while.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
They've been awesome. awesome to
Oh,
work
good.
with this,
Okay.
with the new airport, and communication has been amazing. It's just really nice to have. There's 2 gals and a guy and one gal flies over from the Seattle, Washington area
Oh,
for almost every meeting.
Oh, wow.
It's nice. And they're available email or phone calls within minutes.
That's
So
good.
it's
Good to hear.
really good.
So, can I just ask for clarification for the minutes? So Lisa, you put out for new bids for
Correct.
an engineer,
Correct.
for an airport, for new airport engineer?
Yep, sealed bids are received.
Got it.
What happened when we received them is that we sent out the bids, or the proposals, they're called, they're not really bids, the proposals to the board members, and they had a month to look over those, and they came back the next meeting and approved Dell. And we did it by, everyone talked about each contractor and gave their reasoning for, what they found in each of the proposals, and then we did a silent bid. Everyone had a piece of paper, and Dell won 3-2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion contingent on that?
Yeah, I would move the contingent upon county attorney's okay. We approve that.
I would second that. Any further discussion? So I guess I'll wait until Joe looks it over, Lisa, and then I'll sign it as soon as he gives us the okay.
Good, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So give that to Lisa and she can send it to Joe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Which brings us to the budget amendments for our end of the year annual budget amendment. So Paula, would you like to talk about that?
May I have a copy of them?
Yes.
Now, do you want me to go through each one? Do you want me to
I
give
read
an
them.
overview?
Thank you for sending them out to me ahead of time.
Okay. So
Maybe just a brief summary.
budget amendments are given we save them till the end of the year when we know when there was unappropriated revenues that were received or unappropriated expenditures that were dispersed that could not be helped. Sometimes it's just emergency stuff. Sometimes we just didn't know what the cost of, one thing was the cost of travel went up for IRS. So we had to make an adjustment to the commissioner's budget to add more to that. Some of it was, 2 of them was, it's a split salary between 2 departments, and the accruals were not split. So 100% came out of one of their budgets, so we had to make an amendment for that one. We did receive PILT, which we added that in for this year. A lot of them were grants that we did not know that we were going to receive. We had to purchase radios for the fire fee. There's just appropriations and expenditures that happen that we just can't.
Just
We just have-
unanticipated stuff.
Yep, it's all unanticipated. And a lot of the times that there is, like with the grants, there is an expenditure and a revenue. Sometimes we have to transfer from one department to another department, as is the accruals. But everything worked good. We're not in a deficit on anything, so we should be good. And the transfers are the same when we make appropriations changes, and we have to increase the budget of expenditures, we have to pull revenues from. And three of them, I believe, are from PILT that went through, so we have to transfer the PILT funds to that revenue. Junk vehicle had cap projects remaining, so we got to put that into his cap project fund. But anybody that needs a copy and would like a copy, I'd be more than happy to email them or get them copies, as there is quite a few this year.
So do I need a motion on each resolution?
Please.
Okay. So I need a motion on resolution 25-12, Sam.
I would so move that we approve 25-12.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Need a resolution on 25-13.
I would so move to approve.
I will second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And a resolution 25-14.
I would move to approve that.
I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. So that brings us to the CASA request. And we've got Matt McCartney sent us a request. We get this every year. They have been asking for $5,000. We have been giving $2,500
Right.
in the past. I had Paula check up the history and that's what we've been giving. So what's your pleasure there?
Do you think we should up that? I mean, do you have any thoughts on it?
Excuse me, Joe, how much did they request?
5,000.
It probably wouldn't hurt. We've been at $2,500, I think, for the last 5 years.
2012.
2012.
Oh, okay.
You want to bump it up to 3,500?
Yeah, I would like to. I'll move that we bump it to $3,500.
I will second that.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So that brings us to the superintendent report of schools. And Brooke couldn't be here today, so I told her I would wing it. And I made a copy for Mel, if you can pass that down.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna go through it's 2 pages of stuff. She's a busy superintendent. And I don't think I want to read the whole thing. But it just goes through all the things that she does with the rural schools and with the transportation committee, with the buses.
And I will attach a copy to the minutes.
Yeah, that would be great. It has a list of the enrollment for the rural schools. There's a lot of information in it now.
Yep.
So with that, we don't have anything to do with that, so I will go on to the Bynum Alley abandonment. We had a request. Vern Johnson came in and wanted to know the process, so we went through the process with him. We have to open a hearing, and then we have to have legal notices in the paper for 2 weeks, and then we have to have a viewer's report, and the last one either has to be a commissioner and the road superintendent, or a commissioner and the county surveyor. The county surveyor and I did the last one. Paula is our county surveyor. So it is on the alley right north of Vern's house, Mel, and it goes west right in the center of that block up to this next street. And he owns all the property on both sides, and he got the petition signed by everybody on the petition was in Bynum, so I don't think there's going to be any opposition to it. So I will just open the hearing, and then at the July 17th meeting, we should have a viewer's report and be able to act on it. We'll get the ad in the paper for 2 weeks, and we'll get going with it.
Okay.
And that's what I got on that, and then commission report. Do you have anything, Sam?
Well, I've had several calls about getting some gravel in the Collins area. And I know that those roads haven't really had any true maintenance for years. But I would like to see that happen,
Okay.
you know? Yeah.
Talk to Steve about that.
Right.
Okay.
And I've given him some other names and about some calls I had. But really, that's all I've got.
Okay. So I think we will not have a meeting on July 3rd now, for obvious reasons. Everybody's going to be busy. And I think it would be easier just to wait until July 17th. We don't have any burning issues that we've received for the next meeting yet. So I think our next meeting will be July 17th. And also, Mel, you've been coming to the union negotiation meetings?
Yes,
And
trying to.
yep, we set that for July 17th at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So if that works for you, that's what we're proposing.
At 1 p.m.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be right here.
Do you guys want me to live stream that?
If you want to.
Okay.
I think legally, if we're having a meeting with three commissioners, I think we have to, so
Okay.
I was thinking you could just bring the stuff up for the regular meeting and
And
leave it.
Yep,
So I thought that would be handy.
yeah.
Okay, that's all I have, and I put, our next meeting was July 3rd on the agenda, but that's
Yeah.
gonna be the 17th.
Um,
Public comment.
I do have some today, and not as prepared as I wish I were. The city of Choteau sent the sheriff's department, and I think CC to the county commissioners, a proposed contract for law enforcement services. I think they sent it on the 6th of
June.
June.
Yeah.
And Keith Van Setten has CC'd me a copy of his response to that, to the proposal. And it appears to indicate that, that with the advice and consent of the commissioners, that there are points in that contract that would need to be changed and negotiated further before he would be comfortable signing it. And so my concern is that he has apparently talked with you guys about this.
Not with the
or-
commission. Keith and I have been meeting, just
Okay.
Keith and I. It hasn't been with the commissioners. We've been,
So I think I would encourage you to bring that contract to the table here and talk about, in maybe a report from you, maybe you could give us a report on what is the status of negotiations, if it's just been the two of you.
it has just been the two of us,
Good.
and I can tell you right now, Keith and I went through that,
Mhm.
and we felt that the levy is not the county's concern. That was a big point, and Joe Coble looked at it too. And the other big thing that I thought, we don't want to negotiate every parade, every little deal. I would just soon have a blanket contract that doesn't require a meeting for every special event to negotiate a price for that. And Keith did send that to Stuart, and I don't think he's heard back. Keith thought that they were gonna have a meeting on Tuesday, but Stuart emailed us and said that he didn't have that in time to put it on the agenda and
Right.
have it for a
Right.
public meeting. So I assume the next meeting it'll be discussed there. So those were the big points. And then the dollar amount, of course.
Right.
The dollar amount was $215,000, and I think Keith's letter of response says, that's not enough.
Yeah,
Is that kind of where you guys
Yes.
are at?
yes. And I believe he's still, my last conversation with Keith, he's still waiting. He sent a bunch of data from his last year's budget and the hours and all that stuff to Dan Clark, and he's waiting for Dan to come back with a review of that.
Right.
Yeah.
To come up with a independently arrived upon
Solid
number that it costs Teton County to provide law enforcement services for.
Yeah,
I would assume not just Choteau, but Dutton and Fairfield
I
as
think
well.
just Choteau. I'm not sure of that, but my conversation with Keith is just centered around Choteau.
Okay. It seems like whatever it costs to have a man in Choteau or a woman in Choteau would be
Very similar.
the same in Dutton.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the time and the resources,
Yeah,
not so much the location, I don't think.
yeah. Yeah, so just to clarify, the board has not been involved with that. That's just Keith and I, so.
Okay. Yeah, if you could, I think, Joe, as this continues, if there's not gonna be like, sit-down meetings between the two negotiating sides, if you could just give a report whenever
Sure.
there's been
Yeah.
a proposal received or
I'll gladly
responded.
put it on the agenda
Yeah.
for July 17th.
Yeah, that would be, I think that's a way to proceed with, to pursue transparency.
Yep, I agree. I'll make a note so I don't forget to put it on the
Okay.
agenda.
All right, that sounds good.
Any other public comment? public notices. Our next meeting will be July 17th. And again, I think that you have to video the union meeting as well,
Yeah.
if that works.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right, well, I will adjourn the meeting, so Paula can get the heck out of here.
You too.
And me too.
Oh, yeah, you too.
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
That meeting.